in our conversation at the universe in our home. This platform aims to share stories and views, bring encouragement and positive vibes to our followers, gain insights, learn best practices, and exchanges on lessons learned. We believe that digital media platforms are the future. We aim to inspire, engage, and inform, and we value and encourage kind, positive, and healthy conversations. This is Chona de Simple. We are very excited on our first topic. This is our contribution on the National Children's Month and our way to raise awareness and inspire on youth leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present my first guest, a youth leader in the Philippines, Miss Ericka Quilos. Hi, Ericka.
Hello, everyone. Hello to our listeners. Once again, I am Maria Ericka Quilos, and it's a pleasure to be here on this podcast today. Thank you so much, Ma'am Shauna, for inviting me to speak and share my story with our dear listeners.
You were the first person I have in mind when I was thinking about having this platform. Miss Ericka actively takes part in the discourse on the promotion of child rights. She participates in various national meetings in the Philippines on child rights. From Vidas Foundation Philippines, Ericka is an outgoing youth representative in the National Anti-Poverty Commission representing the children's sector. She took part in the numerous consultations both nationally, regionally, and internationally, such as in Vietnam, South Korea, and Geneva, Switzerland. She advocates for human rights, development, education, and solidarity initiatives for the young people, mothers, and families. Just for a quick background, I met Ericka in Geneva, here in Switzerland, way back in 2019, when she participated at the commemorative activities of the 30th anniversary of the Convention on the Rights of the Child. She was speaker at 2 sessions, namely Working Group on Justice for Children, Justice with Children, and at the plenary discussion on the future of children's rights. At those events, the Filipino youth leaders stressed the need to have child-friendly information materials, inclusive and child-friendly processes, and the need to involve children in the promotion of justice, accountability, and monitoring mechanisms in an inclusive and child-friendly way. Wow, that was 4 years ago already. It is really my honor to have you with us today as my first guest, Ericka. Please inspire us with your story. Share with us how your advocacy on child rights started, what motivated you, how did it evolve?
Thank you so much for that introduction, ma'am. As an advocate for over 8 years now, I have told people about the history of my advocacy many times. And every time I do so, there is a strong feeling of nostalgia. The journey I had flashes through my eyes as I try to remember how I came in this situation. I grew up in an informal settlement in Quezon City, and the place where I grew up has quite a history, especially during 2010 when this place was all over the news when people tried to barricade the area in order to stop eviction. I remember being told at school that we couldn't go home yet because the police are started throwing tear gas around. Growing up in such a community exposed me to a lot of challenges that the children were facing, but it also exposed me to a lot of social activities as many organizations were involved in work throughout the settlement, especially after the demolition decrees. So at the age of 4, I began participating in many of these programs, mostly through my organization, the Vidas Foundation Philippines. It's an international non-governmental organization that had educational initiatives in my neighborhood. That's why from an early age, I began to learn about my rights and began engaging in recreational and educational activities through my foundation. As I got older, I began to realize how many children in my neighborhood don't have access to basic services or education, or understand their rights as children. That made me get even more involved. That's why I was chosen as a youth leader before I was even a teenager. If I remember it correctly, I was around 10 years old at that time. And I remember teaching and encouraging young people older than me. And from that moment, I realized that age doesn't matter when it comes to advocacy. I really wanted to speak out for children in my community, as many of them don't have a voice, not just in government settings, but even within the school or in their own house. I wanted to bring my voice, their voices, and the challenges both I and they were facing to larger platforms. My mission to speak out grew as I began my activism further. I went on to participate in my first national conference where I heard even more issues, concerns, and challenges that children face throughout the Philippines. At the conference, I gained an even larger understanding of the realities children face. And also, I got to meet children from different islands in the Philippines and met so many children and youth activists. That's when I realized that when they speak up, they could make a change. And there were a lot of platforms for us to participate. I wanted to fully utilize those platforms to speak about the challenges of children in my community and raise the voices of children who weren't there themselves. That's why that is the reason that I became involved in children's rights and protection. And for me, that's the key. If children know about their rights, they will have a knowledge to participate in large dialogues and speak out about the issues that they face. And through that, they will also realize that they're just not kids. They have the voice, they have the power, and they can make the change.
Wow, that was very empowering and inspiring. The topic on children's rights is very personal to me as well because I was a youth leader before, but hearing your story is like, oh, mind blowing. Like really, it's very deep. It's like that's how youth leaders should be. I was a Sangguniang Kabataan chairman, but I don't know, like, wow, at the age of 4, you've already been starting to appreciate really deeply the realities and how you're able to evolve and able to use your voice to, as you said, help the community. This is a very good topic and conversations indeed. Thank you, Ericka. An African proverb says, it takes a village to raise a child. What are your views on the role of parents, teachers, society to develop such awareness and leadership at a young age? And what advice or thoughts can you share?
So for this, I would like to share my personal experience. Actually, my mom used corporal punishment on me when I was young. And it only stopped when I became a child advocate and started learning about these rights. Being an advocate myself also allowed her to attend to seminars and trainings that changed her views and made her be aware of the society's role as a whole, especially the adults and the parents. And now I am proud to say that my mom is now an advocate of positive discipline. So within our community, she began influencing other mothers. She began having to have heart to heart talk with them because there is like a different kind of connection if a mother is talking with another mother. I think that they can relate more to each other. And that simple step, I believe it emphasizes the message that that African proverb wants to imply. Although there is still a long way to go, if many parents, if many adults would have that chance to be aware and have their perspective change, I think that it would really make a big impact in the community, especially because at a very young age, I got to talk to adults in dialogues and courtesy calls that we had. I really saw how big it is, how big the impact would be if the adults we talk to have a sincere commitment and they genuinely listen to the young leaders. Because if their views about child participation is not just like a tokenistic one, that it would help children to be empowered in a good way. And if the society is supportive enough, I believe that initiatives will contribute for a better future for the next generations.
Thank you again very much. Ericka, what are you up to lately? What are your plans in the near future?
So at the moment, I am still finishing my undergraduate degree at the University of the Philippines, Tacloban. I am now a fourth year student taking up Bachelor of Arts, Social Science in Political Science. And
Wonderful.
aside from still being a youth leader of our organization, although now I am primarily helping remotely because I am currently residing in Visayas, I further my engagements in international organizations. And this year, I was chosen as one of the 10 Youth Advisory Board of the United Nations Philippines for the Human Rights 75 initiatives, where we bring our collective experience in advocating for the human rights of youth, covering a range of a lot of areas, including education, climate justice, and peace building. Last month also, I got an email from the European Union telling me that I was accepted as one of the members of the first cohort of the Youth Sounding Board in the Philippines since it was launched globally by the EU Commission in 2021. After I graduate, I initially planned to get a master's degree abroad, but I want a master's degree in social work because actually it is my first choice. But at the same time, I want to get a Juris Doctor because I would like to also become a lawyer who can bring justice to children in court proceedings and offer services from the marginalized. Because in my own experience, it's really difficult to have access to legal services, especially if you came from an urban poor household. Nevertheless, whatever job I will land on in the near future, I hope that it is something that would be fulfilling and meaningful. Something where I can be one for others, just like the motto of our organization, be one for others.
I feel like you have the world really ahead of you, you know, so it's really up to you on which choices you will make and opportunities will come up. You already have very wonderful opportunities that also not all children are given, and this is also because you really step up way early in your life to be a youth leader. Very inspiring story. We really have a very good choice on our first guest. Okay. For those aspiring youth leaders, what words of encouragement can you share, Ericka?
So, for all aspiring youth leaders, I know that there will come a time when it seems like our efforts make no impact at all. And if ever you come that point in your life where you just want to give up with all of your advocacy works, I just recommend that you start revisiting the origins of your advocacy for you to be reminded of how that fire of leadership started to ignite within you. Because, as mentioned earlier, I started young, and I cannot say that throughout those years, I didn't burn myself out. So there were times that I really feel tired because there's a lot of responsibilities and roles that I need to fulfill. But at the end of the day, it is really going back to your advocacy, to what kick started this journey that will keep you to continue what you're doing right now. And I hope you'll never forget that your voice will make a difference. And always remember that as youth leaders, we are not in the position only to represent ourselves. We are here to represent all the children and youth from our country who cannot represent themselves. That's why we have this opportunity and we should use it well.
You're wonderful. We are very lucky to have you in our country, and we are very lucky to tell the world that you see, even the youths in the Philippines, they have their voice. They can use their platforms. We just really need the kind of people, the kind of youth like you are, and develop them. And you're so deep. You're very deep. I mean, I feel it. It's wonderful. It's wonderful, Ericka. And for our last question, is there anything that you want to highlight or emphasize in your advocacy? Any words that you want our listeners to remember in our conversation?
To end, I just hope that we can continue to work together in order to achieve a child friendly world. I think that nothing would be impossible if we joined hands and set our differences aside. Let's move toward the eradication of violence so that children will have a safer world to live in. And I am very hopeful that there will come a time that we will really achieve what we're working for now. Because even before us, there were a lot of people who were hoping for change. And that's why our situation is much better than what they had. Because they started doing things that would alleviate the conditions that we're enjoying right now. There's a glimmer of progress, a testament to the positive transformation that have taken root because, as our National Children's Month theme, empowered children, empowered nation. The seeds of advocacy we planted have sprouted, and the fruit of collective efforts to build a better world for the young. The fight, the call continues. Once again, this has been Maria Ericka Quilos, and happy National Children's Month.
Wonderful, wonderful, beautiful, beautiful. We are so lucky to have you, Ericka, and we wish you success. We wish you guidance along the way. That indeed we will be able to attain what we. There will always be new challenges again in the near future, and as you said, it's very. I'm very thankful that you also mentioned that there were already people before our elders before who worked already, right? So I'm very thankful that you mentioned that. I'm very thankful that you mentioned the point also that the importance on setting aside differences and making things work. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ericka. To the World Population Review and supported with UNICEF data, as of 2023, there are an estimated 2 billion children in the world, ages 0 to 14 years old. Because of the declining fertility rates, this number is expected to peak in 2050 at 2.06 billion and then decrease to 1.9 billion again in 2100. We cannot deny our future is in the hands of our youths today. As I have mentioned earlier, this is our contribution to National Children's Month, our way to raise awareness and inspire on youth leadership. Thank you again very much, Ericka, for sharing with us your time to do this collaboration. Have a good day, everyone. Light and love. This has been Joanna de Simpala. Thank you very much for being with us today. Join us in our next conversations.